Hello, and welcome to the Ethanol Producer Magazine podcast. I am your guest host, Anna Simet, and we are here live on the trade show at the International Fuel Ethanol Workshop. My guest today is Frank Gould from Beyond. Let's start that over. Fred. We're going to start that over. Indigo. Hey, Indigo, we're going to restart. Okay. Hello, and welcome to the Ethanol Producer Magazine podcast. I am your guest host, Anna Simet, and we are here live at the International Fuel Ethanol Workshop and Expo. My guest today is Fred Gould from Beyond. Fred, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Let's just jump right into questions. So, Fred, as a Microsoft reseller, what kind of software does Beyond sell and implement?
Yeah, so we sell and implement ERP software, so think of accounting software, but we do something a little bit different with that. We've worked with a company to expand what was the normal kind of standard ERP software to include commodities, so grain, corn, ethanol, and those things. So that's what we, like I said, sell and implement. So we've been doing that for quite a while now. We do other types of software related to ERP software, so whether it's maintenance software or some other interfaces with scales and stuff like that. So we work kind of end-to-end with the ethanol plants mainly, but other grain processing companies as well.
Okay, interesting. So you guys changed the company name from Christensen to Beyond. Why did you guys do that?
Yeah, so a few years ago, as part of some changes that were happening at the firm, we came out from just being a division of the firm to a separate entity. So still owned by John Christensen, but we're now a separate entity. It gives us a little bit more freedom to pursue little different areas of the types of software we're able to do, and a little more freedom to grow and expand and do what we need to do. So again, still fairly closely associated with Christensen, the CPA firm, but as Beyond, we are our own entity as such. So.
I gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So Intelligo has been around for more than 20 years. How has Beyond grown over this time?
Yeah, so when I started with Christensen at the time, and now Beyond, Intelligo wasn't even the software. And so we worked with the company to develop that software, and it's based on Microsoft Dynamics GP, so one of Microsoft's legacy softwares that we've dealt with for, like you said, 20 years now. But since then, we are now working with Microsoft's one of the latest software offerings they have. It's all cloud-based. And so we worked with another development company to develop a new commodity software on top of that. So that's one of the things that have changed. But over the years, we have continued to automate. So there's a lot of automation that goes on in what we do, everything from workflow approvals of purchase orders and things like that to electronic transactions that we are actually pulling in from other systems, whether it's a bid offer system coming in or exchanging information with scales. So most of what we've seen happen in the last about 5 years is a lot more automation. We're not. AI is out there, right? It's starting to be something that's talked about. We're not there yet, but there has been a constant evolution to automation and that will come when it needs to in this space. There's a lot happening with obviously CI scores and the carbon intensity stuff. How that's going to go? There's a lot of discussion happening now. We don't know exactly what that is, but one of the things that that has happened with Beyond and with the Intelligo software, now the leverage software, the newer commodity version, is that evolution. You cannot stay the same way you always were, right?
Yeah.
It's the pace of change, and that's one thing that has continued to pick up. As I've seen it in the last 5 years, is the pace of change is getting faster.
I've been hearing a lot. So you're the third podcast in a row that automation has been mentioned.
Yeah. It's you try to take out those errors that happen. Also prompting people to make sure that they stay on task and what they're doing, what needs to be done, so it can get a transaction can get handed off to the next person that needs to approve it or change it or to add something to it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, as commodity software experts, what are some of the evolutions that you've seen in commodity software?
Yeah, so kind of a little bit of what we talked about there, but just more of the automation, what's happening. One thing I mentioned is a bid offer system. That really didn't exist very much 3-4 years ago. And now we're seeing that's one of the things that's happening almost in every implementation we're doing. Our existing customers are coming to us. How do I have those contracts and that information come in automatically and I don't have to do anything with it, right? So we're seeing that evolution. One of the things that people don't know is that we do more electronic transactions in the ag space than just about anybody in the country, right? So we exchange information. We have for years. We did our first project. We used what's called Ag XML. It's a data exchange protocol. We started using that in 2005 with a large company here in Minnesota. That was in Minnesota. Target was one of that company. We started working with them. So we've been exchanging information electronically ever since. And so every year we have billions of gallons of ethanol that get exchanged electronically, tons of distillers and corn. And it's a protocol that nobody really realized that or utilized that was out there. It was kind of laying dormant for a number of years, but we picked it up, and we do more than, like I said, anybody in the space, just day in and day out, just stuff. It's B2B, business to business, right? B2B transactions just happening all the time electronically. So that's one of the things that we have seen continue to grow and expand. We're doing a lot with mobile apps. The farmer can come in and drop their grain off, and they know by the time they leave the plant what the test weight moisture is. They can compare what they've been hauling off the field. So that availability of that information is just been much more readily available to people and on their phone. People always say it's a phone. I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's a computer in your hand, right?
Exactly.
So it's we all tend to think of them as phones. They have a phone function, but that's only one of the functions it has, right?
Totally.
So
right.
I always laugh when people say that.
Yeah. Okay, well, one more question. Beyond is now implementing asset management maintenance software. Why did you start implementing this software?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we're now working with Microsoft's latest version of their software. And one of the things that we haven't had for a number of years is the legacy software didn't have a maintenance module in it as part of that. So with the new software, it has a maintenance module, which really helps to integrate everything because it's all in one system. And so the workflow is much smoother with that. And so I always say try to keep that the transactional information as much as you can in one system. And so this is allowing us to now keep the maintenance that happens. These ethanol plants, a lot of them are 10 plus years old, 10, 15 years old.
Right.
There's a lot more maintenance happening these days than there was, and there's lots of projects, right? People think like there's only expansion projects or other things like that, but there's projects there's 10 to 12 projects happening at any plant at any given time. And these are assets we need to accumulate the information on, and things like that. So there's kind of project related stuff that happens with that, and so this allows you to keep everything in one system, one accounts payable. You don't have to exchange information with the maintenance software and then get it, and have a different PO system and for your other supplies and things like that. So you get one system. So that's the main reason why, because now it comes with the software. So we've expanded our footprint in the types of things that we're doing with plants.
Super fascinating. Fred, is there anything else that you want to add before we wrap things up?
I think that's about it. It's just that, again, if I can say that one of the things that we've done over the years is continue to evolve in what we have done. I think that, and people underestimate that, and some people don't necessarily think of themselves as evolving, but they do. Like companies do. And so that's one of the things that has helped us stay relevant and very applicable to the ethanol industry, is always constantly paying attention to what the clients need and want. And that's been something that John Christensen has passed on. He's always done that, is paying attention to the customer, right? and understanding what they need. And the other thing that we do is specialize, right? So this is what we do, grain processing software, right? And so there can be companies that do try to do a lot of things, and you tend to get spread thin doing that. But what we've always done is try to stick to what we are good at, right? And we've gotten very good at it. We have a team. I've been with John in Christensen's for 21 years.
Wow.
We've had people that have been with Great Plains Microsoft ERP software for 30 plus years doing this. So we have a very experienced team with that as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this has been super fascinating. I want to thank you so much, you and Beyond, for coming to the FEW and your support. And we look forward to having you on sometime in the future.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Until next time.